Harvard man, I'm official.
Yo, it's Amere May Jr. I got the squad with me. I just jumped off the porch with Dirty Gun Blaster. Cheer!
I done caught the keys now, feds wanna change now. I be feeling like I can't even make a play now. Believe me, getting up there now.
All right, so we got Amere May Jr. jumping off the porch with us today, man. How you feeling?
I feel good, man. I'm feeling good. Happy to be here.
Nah, I appreciate you coming by today too, man.
For sure.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce who you got sitting behind you today too.
Then I got my boy Ken Coates this time. Got my boy Tow Truck T. And I got a son with me, Trey, man. We coming here, man, to show some love.
Nah, that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
So what else you got shaking here in Atlanta, man? What else you got planned?
Man, we got a couple features to do, knock out, you know what I mean? And we getting back on the road. Atlanta too busy for me.
For real?
Yeah.
It's a lot going on in this city, man.
There's a lot going up.
Yeah, nah, that's what's up, man.
Yes,
All right, man. So you're originally from Michigan, right? South Haven?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know nothing about no South Haven except for Memphis. So
Yeah.
what is South Haven, Michigan like?
South Haven, Michigan is where Blueberry started. So it's a small city where a lot of people come to, you know, just hang out, chill out, you know, man, get away. It's the beach. You know, with the Lake Michigan, we call it the beach because it's real big, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's just a small town, man, you know, not much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How far away are you guys from like Detroit or Grand Rapids or anything?
So from Grand Rapids, we're about an hour.
Okay.
So that's the west side of Michigan. So that's what we represent. Grand Rapids, Benton Harbor, Kalamazoo, Muskegon, you know, what I mean, with South Bend, all that, we represent that side of the area.
Gotcha.
Sure, yeah.
So when would you say you jumped off the porch? How old were you?
And I feel like I jumped off the porch as soon as I got out of college. As soon as when that regiment was over with and I kind of got so much free time, that's when I jumped off the porch.
Understood.
For sure, yeah.
So before that, you was just playing ball, right?
Yeah, everything was like a, you know, regular schedule, you know. Just waking up, going to school, you know, making sure I get to practice, making sure I get some practice in and back home in church. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it.
And your pops played ball too, right?
Yeah. Pops played ball. Pops played overseas. Pops was the coldest from the city. So it was big expectations coming in the city. You can't have his name and not bring it. Yeah. for sure.
Did you feel that pressure or was it just like, nah, I know I'm going to show out, man?
Nah, I didn't feel that pressure because, you know, I didn't have no hating daddies that didn't want me to be better. He wanted me to be better. So that was the expectation every year. I was trying to figure out, okay, what you average 8th grade year? Okay, you did that. What you average 9th grade year? Okay, you average 13 year, 9th. Okay, your junior year, you average 26. I need to make sure I average 28. That's how it was.
And you broke off his records in high school, right?
Yeah, I broke them all.
Does the record still hold today, or?
Yeah, it still holds today. So he averaged 32, I averaged 36.
Boy.
So his highest game was 44, I had 56. So it's a blessing, for sure.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
And did you end up going to Delaware State?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got that. The city's so small, I got that scholarship from my pops.
Really?
Yeah, he knew the coach. And I remember I used to, you know, when you fill out applications going to college and those letters come back, I used to act like those letters was basketball letters. Them were no application letters. Yeah, man, I just took advantage of it, man. I'm the type of guy like this. If I get an opportunity, man, I'm gonna take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Period, point blank. I just had to represent at the same time. So I just took advantage. I got to that school, Delaware State, you know, end up, you know, doing my thing and being 6th in the nation in scoring. And, you know, we just took off from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did Delaware compare to back at home? Was it like a complete culture shock, or was there some similarities? Or?
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of culture shock only because, you know, you'll see some horses riding on the side, but then you'll see like 3,000 black people in one area. I'm like, what is going on here? Then you got the casino, the NASCAR, the racetrack. You got all these different type of stuff going on. So it definitely was, but not too much, nothing.
Yeah.
Besides the HBCU.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you went down to Raleigh for a little bit too, right?
Yeah. I went down to St. Aug. My coach was playing, man. He was one of them old school type coaches where, you know, he's gonna play the senior over the freshman, even though the freshman is better than the senior. Yeah, he's that type of coach. Coach Jack, shout out to you, whatever. But he was one of those type of coaches. So I really wasn't used to that because me coming from a small town and really running the city, you know, as far as athleticism, I just wasn't used to that, you know. So when he came, you know, I had to get up out of there because I felt like he was holding me back. So we ended up going to St. Aug. Well, actually, what ended up happening is it was in August. I haven't even chosen school yet. And I'm sitting in the driveway, I'm crying. I'm like, I ain't like, man, I don't want to go back. My dad like, you gonna go back. You got to do something. You can't sit here. You can't sit here. So, man, we went down there. They took me down there to St. Aug, and it looked like a prison.
Really?
You got a gate. It was crazy. It was crazy, but you know, I ended up, you know, making advantage of taking it what it do.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
But you ended up going back to Delaware State, right?
Yeah. So the coach that was hating on me,
He was gone?
He got fired in the middle of the season, and the guy that recruited me, that was my dad's head coach that got me there, he ended up becoming the head coach.
Okay.
So he called me like, it's time. I said, it was the middle of the season. I said, you already know what I'm doing. I'm coming back for sure. For sure.
So did you finish out the season in Raleigh, or did you
Yeah, I
transfer
finished
that
out at St. Aug, did my thing, probably averaged like 21. Got all CIAA or whatever, made the first team. We lost the state championship. And then I ended up going back to Delaware State.
Yeah.
And finishing out my last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you graduated with communications degree, right?
Graduated in mass communications, TV and radio. I worked with a lot of big hosts like J Media, you know, Jamila Mustafa. She doing her thing right now with MTV. We learned it together, just, you know, how to bring things together collectively on a production level.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So what happens after you graduate college? Were you trying out for the NBA? Did you go to the combine, or
So
how did that
coming out of college, right? You know, I'm the best. I feel like I'm the best player on the East Coast. So we do the NBA workouts or whatever, and I get back home, and it distracts me, and you got all this fake love around you, you know, so you get distracted. But after college, what ended up happening was draft night, right? Draft night. It was my daughter's birthday, June 25th, 2015. Never forget it. We waiting on the draft, and then the draft didn't happen. And then after that, you know, I was like, man, forget it, man. Woo-woo. I ain't with it, man. My dad like, man, this guy, your agent, he wants you to come practice with the Bulls. I'm like, I ain't come run open gym. It was open gym. Like, I ain't helping nobody get better after no draft. I ain't doing it. He's like, man, you going down there. I'm taking you down there myself. I'm like, it's just an open gym. I'm taking you. I said, man, look, man, we going one day. This is it. We get down there. We at the practice facility. It was like, it was an okay open gym. You know, I did my thing or whatever. They like, come back. So we came back. They drove me back. I was on fire. I was on fire. I wasn't missing. Like, that was the best open gym ever. And then they told me to come back the next day. Next thing you know, they was like, hey, you want to be on the summer league team? And they offered me a summer league position. So.
Out there in Vegas?
Yep, out there in Vegas. Yeah.
So what was that experience like, man?
So the last day we went through practice or whatever, and we went through practice, and the last day, they said we was at the cafeteria. We was at the cafeteria, and we were just eating at the Bulls facility. I'm eating chef, I'm in La La Land, everything is all good. And the trainer's like, hey, I want to talk to you. I'm like, man, why you want to talk to me? But I ain't thinking nothing of it. I'm just eating my ham and cheese omelet like I do. We get to the office, he like, yeah, your heart is beating at an irregular pace, and we're gonna have to release you until you get further notice. I'm like, what? So I'm calling everybody. I'm trying to keep my composure. My family going crazy on the phone. Like, what you talking about? Ain't no wrong with my baby. You lied. So we get there. They end up telling me it was the head coach. I forgot what the head coach was at that time. He was showing me his heart and how he had a big X mark on it, and how that's how I had stopped his career. So I'm emotionally fucked right now. Like I'm messed up. And excuse my language there. But I'm in a wreck. The whole team is Bobby Portis and all them guys, they just hugging me. I'm like, I'm messed up because I was part of the guys. And they just told me I had to go home. And they replaced me like this. They just made one phone call. I went down there to the hospital, got checked out. Nothing was wrong with me. I was just really in shape, so my heart was beating very slowly. My heart was beating very slowly. You know, I have my theories though. Sometimes I feel like, you know, that they wouldn't have did Derrick Rose like that. They would at least waited. You know, so maybe I wasn't that good as I thought I was.
Oh shit! But that wasn't the end, right? Like
no,
you went overseas, right?
No, that wasn't the end. So you know, I ended up going to Argentina. My agent ended up sending me to Argentina, and that was like New York City. Argentina was crazy. Buenos Dias was crazy. You know, Buenos Aires, that was crazy, man. It was a crazy experience, lights and everything. You know what I mean? They just go nuts. I did that, and then after that, I went to Belgium. You know, and that was a fun experience until they bombed the American Assembly.
Oh shit! You was out there at that time?
Yeah.
What was you thinking then? Like, oh,
so fuck. It was crazy. Like, seriously, like they was so crazy. Like, so we show up to practice. And they just bombed the American Assembly. It's all over the news. Everybody's calling. Everybody know I'm in Belgium. They did it in Brussels. You know, that's more of like where all the, you know, Americans go. They did it in Brussels, so we had practice that next morning. Everybody's just sitting there. I'm like, y'all just sitting there, we just not gonna talk about the bomb where they just did this bomb at? Y'all just gonna sit here like this?
Was there a lot of Americans on your team?
It was 5 of us.
Okay.
It was 5 of us. So, you know, man, they just really it's just really built different over there. Yeah, they built different over there. So what'd you do afterwards? Come home to Michigan? Or? Yep, so after Belgium, my family's like, don't go to Michigan. I'm like, man, I'm ready to go home. I'm ready.
Probably homesick.
I'm ready to get outside, you know what I mean? So we get home, man, and that's when me and my boy, we got hella close, like, because like he actually understands the process of what an athlete goes through. Like he played ball and played overseas himself, so he know what's the process like. So we was just really together and we was just locked in, man. That's what we really did, for real.
Okay.
Yep.
So how does music, when do you turn to music? Because I know you grew up like playing the drums.
Yeah. So I grew up playing the drums. We was in church every day. Like we was in church. I was at church at the park. It was either 2 places. I was at church or the park. So, you know what I mean? Seeing like, you know, so many people in my family, you know, do so many great things with music. Like, I always had a head for it. Like it's not one year in school I didn't have choir. Even when we went to, like, I was in choir every year. That was my elective. And I just stayed at it. Even in middle school, I did every talent show, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. I even had my parents pull up to the talent show. I did Let It Burn with the pink Kango hat on with the pink shirt. I killed that joint in the real. But yeah, like I always been like an entertainer type, but it just never was my time, and I had to do one thing at a time. But after when I had went home, you know what I mean, we had started getting back in the gym, and that's when the Warriors called. Warriors called out the blue. That's how the NBA work. You would think nobody's there for you, and somebody just call out the blue. So we end up putting myself in the draft poll, and Ohio Cleveland ended up picking me up, and then I ended up getting traded to the Warriors. You know what I mean? So then after that, that was a cool experience, man. Then they ain't bring me back.
Did you play in the G League or?
Yeah, no. Okay. So I did a couple of scrimmages. I played in the G League, but I did like a couple of scrimmages, and then I end up getting a release again, just not being ready because I'm never knowing when they gonna call. Like you just never know. So I really wasn't prepared. So I'm just going on as as the experience goes on with it.
Yeah, sure.
But they said it was gonna bring me back, but I guess the last day we be blowing in the room, so they ain't bring me back.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So was it at that point that you decided to focus more on music then? And
Yeah, at that point I was like, because I enjoyed the training part and just being able to get ready for the music. Getting ready for the games and stuff, but actually when it got around being around the team and the coach telling you do this and do that, do this and that, I really was like, nah, I ain't with this. I fell in love with just playing with my boys. We're at the park, or we getting the dice game going, or we just chilling, we just chilling out, man. Yeah.
So who'd you grow up listening to? Like, who was some of your favorite artists that you grew up with?
Man, I grew up listening to Usher, my Uncle Zay. I grew up listening to Chris Brown, Mario, Tank. I always wanted to be a gangster like Lil Wayne. I always thought he was the most gangster. Who else? Man, there's so many. Any artist that was hot, I used to just love music, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
So was everyone supportive of you pursuing music after basketball, or were they
Man, no, they wasn't, man. They wasn't, man. They was like, they thought I was crazy. But look at me now. Look at me now. But they thought I was crazy. I used to tell my boy, like, man, I'm finna do music. I just tell my boy right here, I'm like, man, I'm finna do music, man. I'm finna go hard with it. But really not understanding what it really takes to do music, honestly. So, man, yeah, it was crazy, man. They did, man. But hard work pays off.
Nah, for real.
Yeah, hard work.
How would you compare the music industry to the basketball industry then?
Oh, it's way easier.
It's way easier.
It's way easier. I mean, just with music, as long as you're putting out something hot and being consistent, that's it. With basketball, it's so many variables, especially if you're a point guard trying to make the National Basketball Association. Depends what school you go to. Depends, what your vertical is, how fast you run. It's really not how good you are, because everybody can shoot and dribble.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody can shoot, and it's a million of us. You know what I mean? So that's why I feel like, shout out to John Morant, but it's so many other John Morants out there in the world. There's so many other John, even colder, but they just don't have that athleticism, so they won't get the exposure for it, Yeah.
So what was like one of the first songs to take off for you to kind of give you a buzz and, make those non-believers, turn them into supporters? Like,
well,
okay.
It's so crazy. My first song is probably my best song as far as streaming wise.
Really?
Yeah, my song Ain't No Fun. It's probably the best song. Yeah, so that alone, that probably just took off. But everybody already knew, so it really didn't shock them. But when I started going on tour and started getting booked for shows and stuff like that, when that money started turning around, that's when stuff changed.
Who'd you go on tour with?
I was on tour with Eric Bellinger and Sammy and my boy Nick Lavelle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah. This was a vibe.
So what was that experience like, man? I know these shows were pretty crazy.
Man, it was crazy because, like Sammy and Nick, they like the ladies, man. But you can learn from all three of them. Like, Nick, business, as far as his mindset on the business is on another level. And then, Sammy, how humble he is, as far as like just being humble, he's still a legend, and you wouldn't even think it if you didn't know.
Yeah.
Eric Bellinger, I just learned from him is, his music capability is just off the chain, So, I told myself I'm gonna put all three of them and put my sauce on it, and I'm gonna be me. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the current state of R&B right now?
I feel like, as far as R&B, what do you mean by that? Like what do you mean? Because do you mean by sales, or do you mean by as far as just where the wave went to?
Basically, like where the wave is at, because a lot of people complain that the R&B today ain't hitting like it was in the '90s.
Right.
Man. That's a common thing that I hear, from R&B artists.
Yeah. I think it's different type of artists now. A lot of people don't like to spend days and hours and don't like to spend 30 days on one song now to make that hit, or a lot of artists are really got their ego up as far as, not wanting help as far as writers. Because some of the best songs will have like multiple writers on them, and then two is just where we going as far as hip hop, it's just really taking over.
Yeah.
It's just really taking over. So it's best to just, do you, for real.
Yeah, I think, with so much harmonizing and singing in hip hop now, it kind of maybe overshadows R&B too, man.
Yeah, it definitely does. Like, it definitely does. But what I think makes it last is you can't shy away from good music. Good music will last longer.
No, that's for real.
As far as, some TikTok song that just blew up or, some mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So what can you tell us about this new song and video for Levels you just put out, man?
Yeah, I just dropped in there. We was on tour, man, and we was just vibing, man, just like how we always do. We were just vibing and just trying to, keep the energy going and just, we working at all times. We got a lot of stuff in the vault.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff in the vault.
And what about the song Thankful you put out a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, man, I just felt like, that was the right time for that song to drop, because everything in life has just been going steady and going up and going up. So I felt like, a lot of my fans could, experience that and feel that as well, like, because they seen the journey as well. Yeah. So I feel like that's why that song is taking off like that so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you working on like a new album, EP right now, or just kind of just stacking songs?
Yeah, right now we've been talking to some labels right now, but we just dropping singles right now. Yeah, we just dropping singles. We don't want to give everybody too much because, what I've noticed is if you give somebody so much all at once, and you're not a little Dirk or somebody, they really actually won't take the time out to, use listen to each and every song like that. So we want to get their undivided attention, and just keep dropping heat. For real.
Understood.
Yeah.
Have you been working with any other artists, or have you just been pretty much just recording with yourself?
Yeah, I mean, man, I've been working really by myself.
Okay.
Trying to make sure me and my team good.
Yeah.
Because I tell people all the time, man, I don't pay for features. I pay for mentorships. You know what I mean? Because, you pay somebody for a feature, they may not even post it on their page.
Very true.
But if I pay for a mentorship, at least I can get some reaction back and they can show me, we can gain from it, so it can help me and my team grow,
No, that's smart right there.
Yeah, for sure.
What about producer-wise? Who have you been working with lately?
Man, me and my boy King, Productions, we've been locking in, Wavy Davy. I do some producing on my side as well. And I just stick to my same team, My boy King Productions is cold, man. He the coldest, for sure.
Yeah. What can you tell us about Coach Grant?
Yeah, man. He the GOAT. Yeah, he the GOAT, man. I never met a guy like him, man. Like, honestly, man, that was my favorite white guy. Seriously, like that. He was something else, man. And for him, he had to be something else for, my pops to, trust him to, to put me in the right steps and make sure I'm good or whatever as far as when I'm training or whatever. Man, you got to think, man, like Coach Grant, the type of guy, like, he'll take a student that ain't been to school in 300 days, and then he get his hold on them, and he won't miss a day in school. My boy right here, he know it. He can tell you right now, like, he's that type of guy, man, and just to see him gone is just, gone too soon, for sure.
What type of impact did he have on your life, you would say, man?
I think really, like, because he was a point guard for the Suns. So I feel like really, my dad was more of a power forward, Charles Barkley, 6'6", 40-inch vertical. But as far as a guard, I feel like he really just showed me, how to, get better in specific areas like your dribbling and like your footwork and stuff like that. Just the tedious things. And then also too, to make sure you put that work in with your kids. Because all his kids is beasts. Little Grant doing his thing. He the #1 player in Michigan right now. Kaiser, my sister, my baby sister, she played for Chicago right now. She got drafted.
Okay.
Yeah, she got drafted to the WNBA, and then, you know, Calabria, she did her thing too, going to Michigan State. So, yeah, too.
No, that's dope right there.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about this Fed case that you got caught, man?
Man, we was just trying to, you know, man, like, I feel like, you know, sometimes you just do anything to, you know, try to get some money, you know, being around the wrong people. But we're just trying to get some cheese, man. That's all, man. It ain't nothing crazy. I ain't killed nobody.
He wanted me to ask him, man, so I gotta ask him if he wants me to ask him.
Yeah, but it's all good.
Yeah. So what was the biggest lesson you learned by having to go through that whole experience?
Man, honestly, man, I didn't, you know, the biggest lesson is you are who you hang around. You know what I mean? That's the biggest lesson for me. Like, you are who you hang around, you know. It can't get no better than that. It can't get no better than that, for sure.
Understood, man.
Yeah.
What has being a father taught you about life?
Being a father, I don't know. It's like I'm the type of person, like, I've always liked to be around people, kids, like, and I always looked out for other people's kids. So it was nothing, you know, when it comes to mine. Like, you know, I think my biggest thing I think about is, you know, making sure I don't want to, like, I got my oldest son, Armand. You know, he loves basketball, he 8, but I don't want to push it on him so much and he be a #1 player when he's 12 years old. By the time he get 22 years old, he suck balls. So like, I don't want that, so I'm just letting him grow, you know what I mean? And, you know, as far as, like, you know, with my daughter and my youngest son, man, you know, you just never know what's going on in the kid's mind. My son, he thinks he's a dinosaur or something. I don't know. Walking around like a dinosaur and stuff. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what's going on. It's crazy.
So what's some advice you would share to the youth, to the new generation coming up right now?
Some advice, I would tell you to stick to your dream, no matter what somebody say, your family, your friends, whatever. If that's what you want to do, that's what you got to do. Then put the work in it. You know, this universe, it'll come back to you, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's next for you?
Man, I got a couple things lined up for the summertime, but maybe a tour might be coming up. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
You want to give any shout outs before we wrap it up?
Yeah, shout out to all my people back in the West Michigan, man. Shout out to my team. Shout out to all my fans. Shout out to everybody that believe in me, man. For real. Yeah.
All right, cool.
And shout out to God. You already know that's the first one.
Yeah. All right, so who just joined us on the porch, man? Let us know.
Man, we got the big dog with me, man. You already know, AKA Amere May Sr. Pops. You know what I mean? He doing this thing. The big bishop.
So I understand you got a new book you want to promote real quick, right?
Yeah, it's a new book, Courtside Conversations, dealing with the game of life, dealing with a lot of athletes who has been victorious but suffering a loss, so the game being over. But it goes beyond the parameters of athletes. Go if you're in the dope game, if you're a coach, CEO, if you've been married, just suffering for a loss. Everybody knows how to be victorious, but no one knows how to teach you how to lose. And in life, you're gonna lose. In life, you're not gonna make the NBA, you're not gonna be successful in the dope game, somebody gonna snitch on you, somebody gonna kill you. And the CEOs, the vice president coming after your job. The truth of the matter is, we all are gonna suffer from loss, but everybody teaches us how to win, but no one teaches us how to lose. So everybody got to get this book. It's coming out, ironically, Friday the 13th, May 13th, and it's talking about all the vigorous, rigorous athletic training we do. Our daily life is scheduled, and then wake up, one day it's gone. And you see when the court is no longer squeaking, the lights is out, the stands are gone, the groupies are gone, it's just you. And you'll find out this is just you in life, what I'm gonna do in my life. And so many of us need to know how to get on after suffering a loss.
Understood.
Yeah.
How long did you work on this book for?
I worked all my life. I just put my life in it. So just finally on paper, and I just put my life. I was thinking about my great friend Magic Johnson after he was diagnosed with AIDS, how he just had to reinvent himself after he suffered that loss. He reinvented himself and went on. Thought about how P. Diddy, after the loss of Biggie, he reinvented himself and moved on. Snoop, who is now Death Row Records. I'm trying to be the chaplain of Death Row. So, all of this kind of stuff, in life, you gotta know how to move on. And that's why I'm so proud of my son, because the game of basketball is no longer, it's there, but he decided to walk away from it. He was the coldest, 6th in the nation, and he was colder than me. And you just don't walk away from that. But you gotta understand, I teach in my book the parameters of the politics of the NBA. Everything in life is about politics. It's not really about race, it's about the haves and have-nots. And so he can average 30, but a guy from Duke can average 8. They're going with the guy from Duke because the guy from Duke sells tickets. Everything's about money. And so, but if you get caught up into all the things that don't matter and don't understand the numbers, you'll get stuck in society and not know how to move on. But these Courtside Conversation, this book, you can get it all digital outlets at ameremay.org. It's going to be on Barnes & Nobles. It's everywhere, and it's touching a lot of lives.
Awesome, man. Do you got a copy you can show to the camera?
Yeah, we got a little rough draft copy right here. It's called Courtside. It's not bound. It's Courtside Conversation. Got it right here, and it talks about me, the big dog. Chris Webber and them out there. I dunked on Chris and Jay Rose, them from KZoo, AAU, all that kind of stuff. The Fab Five, they didn't want me to come because somebody wasn't going to start, Juwan. But influence of the father, all that. They know me, so we've been playing since AAU, since the Super Friends and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm a bishop in the church, but I'm a reality. I have struggle still. I'm a pastor, but if you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. You shoot at me, I'm gonna bust back at you. And then this is life. I'm human. I didn't want this calling. Anybody ever tell you they're perfect, that has this calling, they're lying. All right, God uses imperfect people with a perfect message. And so that's why I'm thankful for my son bringing me out here to talk. There's a lost generation out here, particularly in the music industry, and we have to challenge these presidents of these companies. What are you really saying? You're only going to give me $1 million if I diss my brother, if I promote racism, if I promote killing. Isn't it funny that on social media you can advertise shooting and killing, but if you say something against a certain community, they'll block you. So everything is being controlled, and this media has to be challenged. So that's why I'm very thankful Off the Porch. You express freedom of speech and you allow people to be who they are. And if I'm not going to fake before people if I'm not faking before God. So if you don't fake before God, don't fake before people. And that's what Off the Porch is about. It's about being real and who I am. I cannot change my past, but I can embrace my future. I always tell them, you're born looking like your parents, but you die looking at your decisions. And so I want him to make the right decisions for himself. Yes, the song is out there, he can sing, but be careful, it's out there. Don't let the industry pimp you. You play a game, be patient, all right? I love Master P and his theory. In fact, Master P's agent, Leland Hardy, used to be my agent, Venus and Serena before they started. And I love his patience. I love the game of how these guys are just controlling the game. Don't let this money pimp you. And I told him he's nobody's host, so you just do it the way God told you to do it, and you'll be all right.
Church.
That's it.
All right, cool. Did you want to add anything else?
Well, I'm excited. So if any of you all who are unchurched see this and you're around Charlotte, when you come in your clubs or whatever, just come by church. I got a message for you. We're not going to judge you. Come as you are, but you'll need change forever. Everybody needs a word. You can call God Allah, you can call him Jesus, but whatever you call him, just get to know him. And that's all I'm about.
Awesome. That was good.
Oh, the Abundant Faith Worship Center is our church, 10540 Arthur Davis Road, Charlotte, North Carolina, and the city of Charlotte. 1125, come check us out. Gives you enough time after you leave the club.
Cheers.
I done caught a case now, feds wanna change now. I be feeling like